Hi there, and welcome to Our Weekly Craft, a source for ideas, inspiration, and fun for crafters. I'm Sarah White, Chief Maker at ourdailycraft.com, and today I want to talk about starting new things, being bad at things, trying something new, or basically the update on my 100-day project, because it's all of those things. Em is wearing my Achu sweater that I told you about back in episode 1, I think, was when I started working on it. And it's been stuck with what, a third, maybe a quarter of a sleeve for a few weeks now, because I keep committing to new projects and leaving my old projects unfinished, which is a really bad habit of mine and completely predictable. So I'm hoping that maybe having her on the form for a little while will inspire me to finish, because, you know, as knitters, we like talk about Sleeve Island. I mean, it has a name, Sleeve Island, and we lament being stuck on Sleeve Island, because when you've done all this work to knit the sweater, the sleeves are like a small thing, but somehow it's like it becomes this almost insurmountable difficulty to just knit the sleeves. So saying this to show that, you know, even professional knitters, crafters, makers have the same problems as everybody else. You know, we have the second sock syndrome and the second sleeve syndrome, or the first sleeve syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to finish things sometimes, and that is just the way it is, and it never goes away. I am wearing something that I did finish, which is, this is Silverberg by Nora Gone. It has a giant cowl. This sweater is really funny because it's just stuck in it all the way through all day long. And sometimes I can't tell which direction it goes on, because the cowl is almost as long as the body of the sweater. So I have to look at it and like, okay, this part is the cowl that goes over, that goes on last. But it is super warm and cozy, and you can't tell as much in the video. You can on the arms there. It's in serious need of deep pilling. I have a lily brush, which I'll link in the show notes, but it does not seem to be up to the task of the immense amount of loose fiber on this sweater. So I would love to know if you have a deep pilling device that you like that's really good for heavy duty projects. Let me know in the comments, because I am in need of something. So now that we've got that out of the way, I told you last week, I think, about that I was going to start a 100-day project of crochet. It is now day 5 of that experiment, and so far so good. I kind of decided maybe on day 0 or day 1, I can't remember, because I'm the queen of changing projects at the last minute and giving myself more things to do, as I may have mentioned. But I decided that I wanted to try to make it not just doing some kind of crochet every day, but to actually make a granny square every day, plus whatever else I had time for. So it's day 5. I haven't done day 5 yet, but I have 4 that I wanted to show you just really quickly for fun. I love this color palette that I randomly chose from my stash, because of course we're using stash here too. This one is just a basic granny square, like the ones you imagine you remember from maybe your actual grandma's Afghans. I can link all of these in the show notes too if you want to see them. This one I did because it was Valentine's Day. Obviously I haven't woven in my ends either, but because it was Valentine's Day, I tried to do a heart granny square, and I did mess up the middle part because I didn't understand what the directions were asking me to say, and then I didn't really want to rip it out, because I kind of like the idea of these showing the progress that I've made through the time. And so it doesn't exactly look like a heart, but you kind of get the idea. It's heart adjacent, and that was kind of fun because I hadn't done one with a shape before. This one is just a solid color granny, which I claim is more square than it looks, and I think it is, but just like I think I messed up something here in the joint at the very end, or maybe I skipped a stitch or something, because it's a little wonky looking. Again, that's okay. And see, if I fold it in half, it's like Yeah, that's not quite right. But again, being new to a practice, it's okay. And then this one I made yesterday, which I do love, is a circle to a square. This one was actually really easy, and I think that's just because I've made circles before, and the edge was very similar to like a regular granny square. It's all half double crochets, so it was really quick and easy. The person who designed this has a whole blanket that is these, and that would definitely be a cool blanket to have. That's granny, but not like stereotypical granny. And I also, one more thing, while we're doing the show and tell portion, I started this sweater. I've never knit, never crocheted. Obviously I've knit. I've never crocheted a sweater before, and that was one of the big projects that I wanted to be able to do in this time. I think it goes like this. So I picked a top-down raglan. It's a Yarnspirations pattern, and I'll link it. So far so good. The ribbing is just like you chain the, I think it was 7 stitches, and then it's just slip stitches through the back loop for the whole way around. And it actually looks kind of big, so I need to try it on and make sure it fits before I go much further. But that part was surprisingly hard for me to like maintain even tension and just have it not look like a beginner made it. Okay, as I established last time and maybe previous conversations of ours as well, I'm not exactly a beginner crocheter, but I don't feel like I have skills. Like the heart square that I was showing you earlier was rated intermediate, so you know that may give you a sign that maybe more than a beginner, but not intermediate yet. So that's sort of my goal for these 100 days, is to try new things, to learn new skills, and to feel like I can confidently say that I'm not a beginner crocheter anymore. But there are going to be some ugly things along the way. Case in point, a heart that doesn't really look like a heart. But I think that it's so important for all of us to try new things and to be willing to be bad at them. And so that's one thing, again, with it, whether it's a 100-day project or just having consistent creative practice, that when you're doing it every day, you know, you are able to improve, but also that it like gives you that space to be bad at something and to be comfortable with the fact that yes, you're going to be bad for a little while, but if you know that you're going to work on it every day or every few days, if it's something new and you're not doing a 100-day project and you have other stuff you want to work on at the same time, maybe you won't do practice it on the new thing every single day. But if you can commit to something consistent, then you can be confident to know that you'll get better, and it kind of makes it easier to go through the ugly part, I think, because especially with a 100-day project, like I can say, okay, day 2 was kind of terrible, but I know that like day 7 is coming, right? And even just looking a week later from when I started, I'm probably going to feel more confident, even if it doesn't show in the projects. I'm probably going to be able to read a pattern better and actually make what the pattern's telling me to do. So if I made the same, my hope is that I can find 100 different granny squares to do, and that I won't be repeating them. But if I were to try to do that hard again, probably even today, because I think I understand what I wasn't understanding already, but you know, even over the course of a week of consistent practice, it will already be possible to see and to feel a difference. I guess is even more important for me, is like that, you know, I can do like the one I did yesterday. Where did it go? The circle one, you know, and I was like, okay, well, I know I've done a circle before, and I know, you know, that you do 2 stitches in each for the first round, and then you do 2 stitches in one and then one stitch in the next. Like, I understand the concept of how a circle works in crochet. And then also, like, once the color changed and you're going into that square, you know, I felt like I didn't have to count stitches all the way across. I could say, oh, I know where the corner is supposed to be, so I can just work every stitch until I get to that space, and then this is what the corner stitch is, and then do it again and again. And so, like, I didn't feel like I had to be looking at the pattern or saying in my head every stitch, you know, one double crochet, or these are half doubles, but one half double, two half double, three half double, you know. And then when I got to the corner, two half doubles, chain two, two half doubles, and then go on, you know. I don't feel like I can do it with more confidence already than I had 4 days ago, which is great and was exactly the plan. And so this feels a little bit like part 2 of last week, but it's different because the consistent practice is part of that, but also the importance of just being okay with not being great at something. I actually wrote a blog post about this not too long ago. It was before the holidays. I can link that in the show notes too, but I have these wooden palette looking little wooden pieces, and we decided we weren't going to do a Christmas tree this year because we have kittens and they would not go well with a Christmas tree, and my daughter wasn't quite into Christmas this year because, you know, the world and all that. And so I had the idea that I was going to take one of these palettes and I was going to paint a Christmas tree on it, and then we could put it on our mantle, and then we'd have a tree and it would be great. And it was a disaster. I'm so bad at painting that I couldn't even paint a approximation of a Christmas tree. I mean, the palette thing that I used was just a bad idea because it has like slats with spaces, so it wasn't a smooth surface, and it's bad. And I can actually see it in my office. It's just sitting in here as a reminder that, you know, it's okay to do terrible things and to laugh about it and to show your kids. Oh my gosh, that I think was almost the most important thing, was when my daughter got home from school and I was like, look at this terrible thing that I made, and that she could see me laughing about it, and the modeling for our kids that it's okay to be bad at something and to keep trying and to improve. And that is a super important lesson for us, but it's also a really important lesson for them to see that even adults don't know how to do things. She's a better painter than I am, for sure. I'm sure if I had said to her, why don't you paint a Christmas tree on a canvas, even since I realized that my choice of medium was bad, that, you know, she would have done a better job than I did. But there are things, you know, that I can't do. There are things that she can't do. And I hope that growing up in a creative household where, you know, I do things and fail and I share about them, and I struggle with learning and I rip things out and sometimes say bad words and make ugly things, that is and continues to be important for her as she grows up, to know that experimentation, not just creatively, but, you know, trying new things is important and vital to our lives, and that doesn't go away when you get older, and that it's okay to be bad at things, and you get to decide for the most part. In school, obviously, you have to keep trying if you fail at things or aren't as good, aren't as comfortable with certain subjects, but when it comes to art and when it comes to most of your adult life things, you get the choice of what things you want to improve on and what things you want to try to excel at. And so, you know, that's where I am right now, is like I'm trying to knit and crochet and do all the things, but doing enough crochet every day that I'm able to see and feel the difference and the improvement, because incremental improvement is the way to go. Like with anything, you practice a little bit and you get a little better, and then you practice some more and you get a little better, And again, a lot of it is not necessarily that you can even see. It's in my attitude about crochet and not feeling like, oh, it's hard, or I don't know how to do that, or whatever. The feeling a sense of adventure and ability to figure things out. That is really important when you're learning a new skill. So I don't know where that gets us, other than 100-day project, still great. It's hard when you or I have to produce a thing every day, and I don't know that I'm going to make it to 100 granny squares, but I wanted to have something because it is like a tangible thing, and I can go through at the end and look at it and go, oh, this one was terrible, and this one was really good, and this one I didn't think that I could do it, and I did, and whatever, there's a definite progress, and it's also like a memory keeping thing that I can remember, oh, that day I was really in a rush and my magic loop is not looping at all, and there's a giant hole in the middle of my project where there shouldn't be one, because I didn't take the time to look up how to do a magic loop, and I thought I remembered how to do it. If I weave in the ends, that'll be okay. But anyway, so yeah, practice and being bad at stuff, they're good things. I'm still reading Les Miserables and nothing else. I am 956 pages in or something, so I have like 250 pages left. I'm really hoping I can finish it this weekend, because I'm ready to be done. I think it's worthwhile to read hard books like that, but I don't want to do it all the time, and so I'm ready to be done. I am watching Inventing Anna on Netflix, which I just started. I've watched 3 episodes, but it's really interesting. I feel like I vaguely remember the story from when it happened. It's about this young woman who, is arrested for fraud because she apparently was pretending to be almost an heiress, kind of a super rich society person in New York, and she infiltrated all these people and financial institutions and all this stuff, and it turns out that the whole thing was a lie. And then the story is about the journalist who told the story about what really happened, as she was getting ready to go to trial and all of this. And I do love a good journalism story because I went to college for journalism, and so my heart is always with the journalists, and I love to see how they make journalism look a lot more glamorous than it really is. Anyway, I think that's everything for this week. I hope that you all have a crafty week. Do tell me in the comments if you're watching, reading, making anything good. If you have a line on a good lint remover, depiller product. And if you know any good granny square patterns, because I'm going to need them. So yeah, have a good week. I'll talk to you soon.